Separated by thousands of miles of ocean, the gorilla and the orangutan have never once encountered each other in the wild. One is a 400-pound powerhouse built to dominate on the ground. The other, a solitary genius engineered for the treetops. Size, strength, speed, bite force, intelligence. In a head-to-head comparison, one of these great apes holds a decisive edge. And it starts with sheer mass. A full-grown male silverback gorilla is a force of nature. On average, he weighs between 135 and 220 kilograms, roughly 300 to 485 pounds. When upright, he stands about 1.7 meters tall, or 5 feet 7 inches, with a body built for brute strength. His frame is broad, his chest barrel-shaped, and his limbs thick with muscle. Every movement hints at the power stored beneath his skin. Across the globe, the adult male orangutan presents a different figure. Weighing in at 50 to 90 kilograms, or about 110 to 200 pounds, he stands around 1.4 meters tall, just over 4.5 feet. His build is leaner, with long rope-like arms and a lighter torso designed for life in the treetops. The orangutan's body is engineered for climbing, not for carrying mass. The difference is not subtle. The gorilla can outweigh the orangutan by nearly double, and in some cases, even more. The sheer bulk of a silverback means that in any direct contest of size, the scales tip dramatically in his favor. Before any question of speed, strength, or intelligence comes into play, the first and most obvious mismatch is visible in the numbers alone. In a hypothetical face-off, one ape towers over the other, setting the tone for everything that follows. Strength in the world of great apes is measured not just in muscle, but in the ability to move the immovable. The silverback gorilla stands at the summit of raw physical force. Popular accounts claim a healthy adult male can lift close to 1,800 pounds, a figure echoed in Guinness World Records and countless wildlife profiles, though never tested in a laboratory. In the wild, the evidence is even more compelling. Mountain gorillas have been observed shifting fallen trees, estimated at 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, sometimes dragging entire trunks to clear a path or display dominance. These are not isolated stunts. The gorilla's daily life is a showcase of strength, breaking thick branches with a single motion, uprooting dense vegetation, or defending the troop with a force that can scatter leopards. Orangutans, while lighter and built for a different world, are no strangers to power. In controlled settings, adult males have pulled more than 750 pounds in laboratory grip tests, an astonishing feat for an animal that rarely tops 200 pounds in body weight. Their real specialty, though, lies in one-arm strength. Orangutans can hang from a branch for hours, support their entire body with a single hand, and build elaborate nests high above the forest floor. Their grip is legendary, measured at up to 300 kilograms of force, enough to dangle, swing, and manipulate the canopy with ease. Yet, when comparing these two, the difference in function is clear. The gorilla's power is designed for direct confrontation, for moving obstacles and overpowering threats. The orangutan's strength is more about endurance and precision, suited to a life suspended in the treetops. In a contest of sheer force, the gorilla's lifting and crushing ability stands in a class of its own. Speed on the ground is where the gorilla's advantage becomes undeniable. In short bursts, a silverback can reach up to 25 miles per hour, faster than the fastest human sprinter. This isn't just a number. It's a display of explosive power that lets a gorilla close distance or control the space around him in an instant. In contrast, an adult male orangutan moves at a cautious, deliberate pace on the forest floor, rarely exceeding 2 or 3 miles per hour. His body, built for the treetops, is ill-suited for rapid ground travel. Long arms and curved fingers that make him a master of the canopy become a hindrance on land, where speed depends on muscle bulk and stable footing. In any terrestrial encounter, the gorilla's sprint means he dictates when and where contact happens. The orangutan, slow and exposed, would struggle to escape or reposition before the gorilla arrives. On the ground, the outcome is shaped as much by control of distance as by raw strength. 12 million years ago, two great ape lineages split and set out on separate evolutionary journeys. On the African continent, early gorilla ancestors adapted to a world dominated by dense rainforests and a thick, tangled understory. Life on the ground demanded size, strength, and the ability to move through heavy brush or face down large predators. Over time, this pressure sculpted a primate built for terrestrial power, a broad chest, massive limbs, and a skeleton designed to support hundreds of pounds of muscle. Knuckle walking became the norm, and social groups formed around dominant males who could defend the troop and its territory. Meanwhile, in the rainforests of Southeast Asia, a different path unfolded. The ancestors of modern orangutans faced a fragmented, vertical world. The forest canopy was a patchwork of towering trees separated by open gaps and swaying branches. Here, survival favored those who could climb, reach, and suspend their bodies high above the ground. Orangutans evolved impossibly long arms, flexible shoulders, and hands that could grip for hours without tiring. Their bodies grew lighter, their movements slower and more deliberate, conserving energy while navigating a three-dimensional maze of branches. Solitude became the norm. Food was scattered, and the risks of falling or fighting in the treetops shaped a cautious, independent temperament. These two evolutionary strategies did not produce rival champions for the same contest. Instead, they created specialists. The gorilla, a heavyweight built for dominance on the forest floor. The orangutan, a master of the canopy, trading brute force for reach, balance, and endurance. Anatomy, muscle distribution, and even social behavior all trace back to these ancient habitats. The differences seen today are not just about size or strength. They are the legacy of millions of years spent adapting to radically different worlds. Once the distance closes, the gorilla's arsenal becomes truly formidable. The jaws of a silverback can clamp down with a force estimated at 1,300 pounds per square inch, enough to crush the toughest plant material and in a confrontation to inflict devastating injury. Long canine teeth, visible even with the mouth closed, add to this threat. These are not just for display, they serve as weapons in moments of real danger. But the mouth is only one part of the gorilla's close-quarters toolkit. Thick, muscled arms can seize, pin, or hurl an opponent with astonishing speed and control. The gorilla's grip, built for tearing through dense vegetation, is equally capable of restraining or throwing a rival. Shoulders and chest muscles work together to generate explosive force, making escape nearly impossible once contact is made. In a direct clash, these physical tools favor a rapid and decisive outcome. The combination of bite force, powerful limbs, and the ability to control an opponent's movement means that a physical contest with a gorilla rarely drags on. The body is a single unified weapon, optimized by evolution for moments when hesitation is not an option. Orangutans stand apart in the great ape family for their remarkable mental agility. Scientists describe them as the most cognitively flexible of all the great apes, a reputation earned both in the wild and in captivity. In the rainforests of Borneo and Sumatra, wild orangutans have been observed fashioning sticks to extract insects from tree holes or to pry open tough seed pods, clear evidence of problem-solving in action. This inventive streak is not limited to nature. In zoos, orangutans have repeatedly astonished keepers by opening complex locks and escaping enclosures. The story of Fu Manchu, a Sumatran orangutan who hid a piece of wire to pick his cage lock, has become legendary among primatologists. These feats highlight a mind that adapts quickly to new challenges, invents tools, and remembers solutions. Yet even with this edge in intelligence, cognitive skill has limits. In a direct physical clash, creative thinking cannot outmatch the sheer force and speed of a silverback gorilla. Intelligence for the orangutan is a tool for survival and escape, not for overpowering a much larger rival. Conflict behavior in gorillas and orangutans is shaped by their place in the social world. For a silverback gorilla, defending the troop is a central duty. He stands as the physical shield for his group, responding to threats with force and intimidation. Whether facing a rival male or a predator, the silverback's instinct is to confront and, if necessary, fight. His size, strength, and aggression all tuned for direct defense. In contrast, the orangutan lives a solitary life. Adult males rarely cross paths, and when they do, most encounters end with displays or avoidance, rather than violence. Aggression is rare and usually reserved for short, ritualized disputes over territory or mating. When danger appears, the orangutan's first response is to escape upward, climbing swiftly into the high canopy where few can follow. This instinct to avoid confrontation reflects a survival strategy built on caution and agility rather than force. In a direct clash, these differences in temperament and fighting style would shape the outcome as much as any measure of muscle or speed. In nature, advantage is never absolute. It's context. Gorillas rule the ground with force. Orangutans master the heights with intellect. Today, both face extinction pressures from habitat loss and hunting. Their differences remind us, survival depends on adapting, not just winning. What does true dominance mean in a vanishing world?